All right, folks, welcome to the next episode right now of Cliff's Notes. And I got to tell you, you're going to learn today why some agents are sharks and some are goldfish, and how you can become the one that you choose to be next right here on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. Yes, and I guarantee it today, friends. You're going to see a friendly, familiar face here. Let's go ahead and pan out Trelvis, and everybody knows this guy, one of our favorite people in the world.
Thank you.
Dr. Walter Bressler. It's great to have you here, Dr.
Good to be
Bressler.
here, thanks. Do you have like the Saturday Night Live, like 5 hosting club? I get 2. If I get to 5, I get the special treatment, the room, all that stuff.
Perhaps. Yeah,
Excellent.
We got to check with Trelvis and see. We still have running that special Mr. T back there? Or?
You know what? That, and it comes with Baby Shark.
No, Baby Shark, yeah.
It comes with Baby Shark as well.
Awesome.
All right, folks. All right, it's time for the quick sports check-in. Trelvis, give us a breakdown of that last Cowboys game, will you please?
Man. Oh, so my professional breakdown, in my professional opinion, it was very bad. That was that's my professional opinion. It was terrible outing that we had. But we got the Eagles coming up next, so we'll see if we can get any better. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. And who's going to be quarterbacking this week?
Mrs. Jones.
I thought they had you out there, Cliff. Maybe it might be time for you to suit up.
I am not coming out of retirement. Neither is Wally, and neither are you. No, we're done.
Not at all, man.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Cool.
Well, I guess it is time to take a knee for him. It could be, it could. If this is the way the season's going, I don't know. Is there anything else on TV anymore? Basketball's done, baseball's done,
the Masked
hockey's
Singer.
done.
The Masked Singer is
the Masked Singer.
It's an alternative. It's a good alternative right now.
All right, there you go. That's some good sports,
That
right?
hurts. That hurts.
All right, guys. I am super stoked, super excited. Welcome, audience members, and obviously, Wally is one of the most acclaimed coaches in the country, and we've had a wonderful experience working together for a number of years. And I wanted to bring Wally back on because, the real estate industry is changing, and from a coach's perspective, Wally has seen it all. I mean, he's seen everything, and he's got some great insight. And we've recently had some good real estate coaches, great real estate coaches on the show. We've got some more lined up here in the near future. But this is really the time right now. We're headed into the fourth quarter. This is a time when real estate agents need to really be considering taking an accounting of 2020. I mean, there's only a few selling days left, and before you know it, we're going to be in the next year. And we all know how important it is to plan, right? Failing to plan is planning to fail,
Correct,
as we say, and so forth.
Yep.
Let's just kick it off here. I really want to just lay down some value for some folks here, and Wally, why don't you just start with your best advice for what to do to prepare for 2021?
Okay. Aside from prayer.
Well, some of us can use a little bit of that. We all can,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. I'm just kidding.
For sure.
So I think, we always talk about lessons learned, because I think the great place to start is to look back and see what worked, or more importantly, what didn't work, right? Let's take a look at everything, you look at your numbers. How was your conversion? How was your, how many leads you have come in the door? How many did you turn into an opportunity? How many opportunities turned into sales? How much money did you make? And I'm going through this with my clients right now. I'm like, okay, you really start selling for 2021 on December 1st and not on January 1st, right? Because by the time November 30th gets here, it's going to be hard to close a deal, and put a deal together and close it by the end of the year, right?
Sure.
Makes sense. So,
yeah.
By the end of November, you're really starting to plan for next year. So what did you do well? What didn't you do well? That which you did not do well, do you stop doing it, or do you improve upon it so you can continue to do that? And then like we were playing the other year, you go out to the end, like what do we want the end to look like? What do we want 2021 to look like? And then from there, we reverse engineer back to current day and say, okay, what are we going to work on right now that's 100% connected to the end of 2021, but really needs to be done now so it can happen,
Right.
And I think it requires a certain amount of humility to be able to do it properly, Tony Robbins says that true transformation only exists on the other side of complete and total honesty. So if you want to transform, if you want to have a better 21 than you did 20, COVID-19 notwithstanding, you got to be honest with yourself and look at what did I do, what didn't I do, what should I have done, what didn't, you know what I'm saying? And then once you get all of that, once you look at what worked, what didn't work, what you did do versus what you didn't do, what you should have done versus what you didn't do, then you've got your areas for improvement, and then you go out and you say, okay, this is what I want to make happen. These are the things I'm going to stop doing. This is what I have to do today to make sure I get there. And then, you put your plan and your numbers together from there.
Right. Let's talk about COVID-19 for a minute, because
Sure.
when we were, a year ago, we were sitting here wondering how we were going to plan for 2020, right? Nobody had a clue COVID was going to be showing up. Nobody had a clue.
Nope.
It turned out, in some ways, to really have, in an odd sense, a kind of a benefit to our industry. I mean, this selling season that normally ends around the end of summer is just, at least in our market, has continued to barrel on through, and there's no sign of, relief. Now, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's talk about this for a minute. At the end of the year, there's a lot of these forbearance and foreclosure possibilities. Could be some shadow inventory, right, that's overhanging out there. We don't know. We don't know what the government's going to do, but the fact of the matter is that they can only do so much, then they're going to be pushing on a string. Servicers cannot support and fund the payments due to the investors and the loans, and it's just, there's going to be a systemic breakdown along the way here. So something's going to have to give. I think I read somewhere where as many as a quarter of the loans in our area are late, which I thought that was a large number.
30 days late.
Think about it, right? That's huge.
Yep.
So the realtors now, we've got a different world. We've got an election coming up. We don't know what's going to happen there. Some agents are sitting around going, I don't know what to do, and they're like the deer in the headlights. You know what that? You've seen or not the deer, but the squirrel.
Any animal that's in the middle of the road.
Well, the one in the headlights is the flat one in the middle of the
right.
the road, right? Because they got halfway across the road and they froze, and then the QX80 took care of the rest of it.
Right.
There are going to be some agents who are caught there in the middle, and they haven't planned. What recommendations do you have in terms of managing your business, preparing for 2021, the uncertainty? What specifically would you recommend to people?
I think the big thing that I would recommend is that you prepare yourself mentally, psychologically, emotionally, as well as you possibly can, and make that a regular part of what you do on a regular basis.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's like everything else. You can't just. It's the same reason that real estate agents go and find a coach. Basically, they've been very tactical their entire career, and it got them to the point where they were producing properly. But then what happens is they realize they want more, but they don't know how to get themselves to the next level, so that's why they find a coach.
Okay.
Right? And so when you come to coaching, we give you the next set of tactics, but we also focus on strategy and being strategic. And part of your strategy needs to be to make sure that and they used to keep your powder dry. You know what I'm saying? That you keep your head in the game, because it's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Now, my dad used to say that a lot. Tell what do you mean, keep your powder dry?
We get older as we use these
I
lovely
know, these euphemisms, right?
So basically, back during the Revolutionary War, probably even earlier, when they fired a gun, they
muskets,
right? They would put and we're explaining this, but they basically would pour the gunpowder down the musket, and they would jam it down, and they would tick the bullet in there, and then basically they had a mechanism that would light the fire, and it would shoot the bullet.
Flint,
you know what I'm saying?
spark,
Yep,
boom.
exactly. A little lead ball, and it's out the door, right?
Yeah.
So you shot like one bullet every 5 minutes or whatever. But the whole point is if your powder
better than a knife,
it's
better than a knife,
yeah,
at
or a
distance.
rock,
Yeah, right, or a
fist,
slingshot, yeah,
right. Unless you're Goliath. But so point being, if your powder was wet, the flint couldn't ignite it, and you couldn't shoot a bullet.
Right, which keep your powder dry, be prepared, right?
Exactly.
The Boy Scout thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you just hit the tip of the iceberg, because what you're suggesting agents do is focus on things they can control, and you haven't said anything about the things they can't control.
Yeah.
Do we need to worry about the economy or interest rates or anything?
I think you need to know what's going on in the economy so you can articulate the value and benefit that you bring to the table and how people are going to position their listings, or for buyers, what they needed to put in the proper offer. But other than that, the economy, there's nothing you can do about anything.
Right. So back in the old days, college days, I heard a term, internal locus of control.
Right.
I think, and what maybe we can talk about that idea for a little bit. But this is something that as coaches, we struggle to get our clients to understand that they have to manage the 5.5 inches between their ears, right?
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, how can I explain this? A guy named Dan Pena, Dan Pena is? Motivational speaker. I was watching something that he was saying the other day, and it was interesting because he says, do you need to have people you work with that you value? Absolutely. Do you need to have a good set of values yourself? Absolutely. Do you need to have a plan? Absolutely. He says, but the one thing you need over and above all that is to take action. And if your mind is not in the right place, if your head is not in the right place, if you're living in fear, if you're living in scarcity, if you're living in a place where you're worried about something's going to happen, then you're not going to take action. And look, I left the real estate industry. I had like a brain fart, I guess I got in the business, had a really good first 2 years, and then I'd always wanted to be a wholesaler at the mutual fund company that I worked at, and it didn't happen. And so somebody called me about a job, and I left the industry at the peak of, I was not peaking, but I was growing rapidly, and I left the industry and went to the wholesaling business, and I was away from home every other week for an entire week, and I got, my ex-wife was like, this is not working for me, you know what I'm saying? And so I went back into the real estate business, but when I got back into the real estate business, I didn't have a whole lot of money, Stacy, my ex-wife at the time, she was working a nursing job, but it was enough for us to do everything. And I had a choice. I could look at my bank account and see it not going, or I could look at what I had to do to make it not go down anymore, but I couldn't focus on both. Right? So I can't focus on the bad economy. I can't focus on clients who might be losing their job. I can't focus on what I don't have. I can't focus on what's not working. I've got to focus literally on the opposite of all that.
So you got to pick your battles.
Clearly. There's only so much space in here,
right?
So clearly you have to pick your battles. It's a good distinction. So I guess I'm saying all that to say this is that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be worried, but it's not okay to let being scared and being worried get in the way of you doing what you need to do, right? I mean, basically, the difference in many cases between a super successful agent and one that's not successful is the super successful agent still experiences fear. They just don't let it impede them from going forward.
Right. Yeah, and they don't stop.
No.
Well, I mean, even if they make a shift in the wrong direction, you can correct that, right?
Yep.
But if you're the squirrel in the middle of the street and you don't move, what happens? Exactly.
You're flat.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Is this easier said than done? Yeah. But it's also a vital part of your success plan for the rest of your life as a real estate agent.
All right, so I really want to pound on this notion of self-leadership and managing yourself, because it really is the key not only to tackling the unknown, but those are the variables that you can control. Once you learn how to manage yourself, then you can be prepared for anything that happens. Jack Canfield, great book. I used to teach to in real estate groups. Success principles, right? E plus R equals O. So whatever event happens to you in life, you got over here, somebody pulled in front of you, cut you off on the road, plus your reaction to that event, whatever that event is, equals the outcome. Next year, ladies and gentlemen, whatever happens, whatever the E is, the event, your reaction is going to determine your outcome, what side of the fence you come out on when this is all said and done. Many of us who were able to adapt quickly to COVID, I mean, I know agents who've had their most successful years in their history.
Right.
This year, when COVID came in, a pandemic, during the times of a pandemic, and they were able to capture more market share, sell more houses, and make more money than they ever have.
Yep. As you were talking, I was thinking about this. There's lots of successful real estate agents and there's lots of successful real estate coaches in the industry. But, and you see this all the time. I think it's a funny reminder on Facebook, like, don't compare chapter 1 of your life to chapter 12 of somebody else's life. And I'd like to maintain that some of the most successful people in the world overcame some ridiculous odds. Tony Robbins tells you his story, Brian Tracy washing dishes, at 18, 21 years old in the back of a restaurant. We know your story, when you got divorced and had to go back and take care of your mom and, really didn't have any money. I mean, when you hire a coach, you hire a mentor, you should want them to have gone through some tough times. so they can help you navigate them themselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and anybody who's super successful, in my estimation, has gone through something that's been a huge challenge for them. You know, and so you want, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know, you want the person that you work with to have gone through that so they can then help you navigate through that yourself.
Right.
Right.
And I wasn't, you didn't interrupt. That is such a key point. You and I have studied all kinds of predictors as to a real estate agent's ability to succeed at a high level. We've looked at disc assessments, AVAs, all kinds of this, that, and the other, all these gurus that tell you that, you know, you need to have this, that, and the other. And recently you and I were talking about some people who statistically should not succeed in this business. They're very high C's, high D's, and they don't get along with people very well.
Yeah,
they're very task driven, and you know, they don't fit the mold. Yet these people that we know very well have succeeded at a very, very high level in their business.
Yep. Selling hundreds and hundreds of homes, have teams of people. You know, I mean, if you were on fire sitting next to them on the bus, they wouldn't tell you that you were on fire. You know what I'm saying? They're that, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Introverted, right? So
that's a good word.
You know, so that happens, and so. But despite all the things that you wouldn't think, or you would think that would keep them from being successful, they're uber successful, and they're coaching other people, and they're successful on a year-over-year basis.
Right.
You know, so it's not just a one-hit wonder. You know.
Right.
So
but what they've and see, let me see if you agree with this. What they've been able to figure out is they've been able to, even with their, I won't call them handicaps because that's not the right word. Even with their differences,
their wiring
compared to the
being
majority, the wiring. Okay, they have figured it out. Okay, but what it took was their mentality is, it's the victim versus the victor.
Good distinction.
Mentality, right? It's, you know, I have these challenges, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to push through them regardless. The perseverance. Okay, they are the ones that nothing's going to get in their way. That they just and regardless of how they're driving the bus is moving forward.
Yeah,
and it's that momentum, that passion. So let's get a little deeper into what drives that. We were talking about Simon Sinek earlier. Let's see if we can break down and unpack a little bit about how the why impacts people's lives.
So if you haven't read the book, Start With Why. You should read that book. Okay, and the reason is that Simon Sinek actually breaks down a very simple formula to how to find your why. Now, I say it's simple because it's just a 3-step process, but you know, Cliff was letting me know earlier that the recommended process could take as long as a month and a half, including the engagement of somebody who really cares about you. But you know, what's 6 weeks of your life to come up with something that's going to help you create the most amazing life for yourself and your family? It's not a whole lot of time, you know, respectively. So the first thing is the what. What do you do? Everybody knows what they do. I mean, we're talking mostly to real estate agents here, right? You help people buy and sell houses. You help them reach their goals. You know, you do all the things that are related to being a good real estate agent. So you know what your what is. The how. How do you do it? You know how you do what you do every day. If you don't know, you go find somebody usually, but at the end of the day, you can take a transaction from beginning to end. You know, you can find a prospect and turn them into a happy, you know, long-term client, right? But the big thing is the why, and the why is not your goal, right? Your why isn't like, hey, I'm going to have a new boat or a new house or a new car or send my kid to college. That's not what the why is. The why is your purpose. Like, why? You know, what's making you put your feet on the floor at 4:30 in the morning to get up to exercise so you can be ready to go ahead and do your prospecting at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7:50, 7:45 when you can start calling people. You know, what's making you stay up late at night, you know, doing your reading and your personal development so that you become an even better version of yourself so you can be a better father, a better mother, a better sister, a better brother, a better parent, you know, a better daughter or son, you know? What is it that's going to keep you through when you don't want to prospect and you have to prospect? Right? What's going to make you do all the things that are the hard things? You know, what's going to make you go to work when you had a fight with your wife that day?
Yeah.
What's going to make you go ahead and continue to work when you have, like, unfortunately, like a sick child or a sick parent, you know? Because life doesn't stop. It continues to go. And so I'm not saying you would, like, you know, work all the time and avoid somebody if they were sick or hurting, but what I'm saying is that you still have to live your life. You know? And if you don't have a strong enough purpose and a strong enough why, you're going to get crushed.
Well, what's an example? Like when you're driving down the highway, there's a car on the shoulder on fire, and you look in there, and there's somebody in there trying to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Or there's somebody that's been run over that's stuck under the car. You know, there are incredible stories of of human strength,
car,
that
yep.
supernatural strength that came upon people who were able to lift cars off of people and so forth. That's the power of the why, right? And that's the power you need in this business. This is not, people come in here and think it's an easy business. They think that real estate agents have an easy life. All they do is wait for the phone to ring and then they go deposit a commission check, right?
What planet is
that
that
the way
on?
it
What
is?
planet is that on?
Right. But a lot of people get into the business for the wrong reasons. Wouldn't you agree that these three reasons are usually ones that are relevant? Number one, they want to have their own business. Number two, they want to have their own schedule and manage their own time. And number three is they want the promise of untold money. They usually get the first two, and then they just get the promise. They don't get the money.
Just because it's a promise. It's not a
Right,
guarantee.
because they don't associate the work and the challenge, okay? And again, I think that the differentiation that we're trying to make here, and I hope that the audience is picking up on this, is that real estate is real estate. There are going to be how many, 5 million homes sold a year in this country every year.
Just about every year.
Whether you're in the business or not. Makes no difference. You're not going to have much of an impact on the aggregate supply and demand equation. But what you can make a difference of is your share of it by managing the 5.5 inches between your ears, right? But that is the key. I mean, I've been in this business long enough to know that is the answer. It lies between your ears. It totally does.
Right.
So the question that I have for most of my clients is how much time and money are you spending to develop yourself? I know you go out and you take real estate classes and you've got all these initials after your name, but how much time have you really spent on self-development, self-leadership, and so forth? So, in fact, a lot of our time that we spend coaching our agents is built around not just the real estate part of the business, but helping people develop better as human beings, the wheel of life, the 5 equities, and so forth. You want to talk about that a little bit
sure.
and why that's important?
Yep, and so can I just add one thing real quickly?
Sure.
Some people, not everybody's driven by a carrot and a stick, right? Not everybody's, Tony Robbins talks about pleasure and pain being the two big drivers, right? We'll do more to avoid pain than we will to seek pleasure. And not everybody, not everybody's driven just by money. Money may be one part of the equation, but not everybody's driven by that. So my suggestion is if you're going to read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, I'd also read Daniel Pink's book, Drive. Because in his book, what he talks about is there are ancillary reasons or ancillary parts of people's whys that have nothing to do with the carrot and the stick. They have everything to do with fulfillment, with personal fulfillment, with connection with other people, with feeling of or experiencing a feeling of accomplishment.
Almost like love languages.
Almost, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, because I mean it's an emotional thing. I mean, why does somebody love somebody else? I mean, you can never tell anybody, why you love them. You can tell them what you love about them,
right?
And that's because it's in our limbic system. The limb system in our body really determines what makes us like and not like something, love and not love something. It's all that. So part of somebody's why might not be something that they can necessarily put their finger on as a physical thing like a boat or a car or a house or college or something, but more a feeling of satisfaction or meeting a feeling that fulfills them at the highest level. So my thought is if you're struggling with your why, go get Simon Sinek's book and read it. Start with why so you can look at the formula, and then read Daniel Pink's book, Drive, so you can find out what inside of you, other than material possessions or being able to do things for other people, is part of your driver. And I think if you can combine those two things, you can have a much easier time of determining your why.
That's really, I'm glad you broke that down, because a lot of people just look at it strictly as the carrot and the stick, and it's not. Life is more than that.
Right.
Much more than that.
Which leads us into the question you just asked is why is it important? Because, they say, I'm trying to think here. I've got all these books here. So this book I've not read, but I've read about it. It was a hospice nurse wrote. It's about the 5 biggest regrets people have when they die.
Oh gosh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
it's on my list. I've heard it's awesome.
I read a summary of it, but the number one regret that people have is that they basically listened to other people and didn't do the things they wanted to do because they let other people's opinions influence what they were going to do.
Right.
That they didn't go ahead and take the action and do what they wanted to do and fulfill their dreams and stuff like that.
That's powerful.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and you got to future pace things and think about it 5-10 years from now. If you're continuing to do the things you're doing now, what's life going to be like for you, So that's why you want to have a plan. And, listen, I sit in front of you as a large man, and I'm working very hard at taking care of myself. I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm this that person that just gives advice. I mean, I take my own advice. I have advisors. I've got people working with me now to help me overcome some of the challenges I have, and I realize that. So I'm speaking from a position of experience, not from just a position of authority, right? I don't want people to think I'm sitting on the ivory tower, as an overweight man here telling you what to do, not doing it myself. So I work very hard on it every week, So, but my point is you need to have, if you'd ever gone to the Tony Robbins site, they used to do like this free assessment. They had this thing that looked like the Trivial Pursuit, the 6 pies, right? Mm-hmm. And then you'd answer all these questions, and they tell you which pie was bigger, which one was smaller. So, but and faith, you've got to have a plan for your faith so you can go in your faith. Finances, what's your plan for your finances? Relationship, what's your plan for your relationship? Spiritual, what's your spiritual plan? What do you call it? Family, what's your plan for your family? It's one of these things where it's not just get up, go sell houses, make money, come home, be a mom or a dad, and then go back to work. It's about how am I going to go ahead and make my life completely better in a number of different areas so that I'll want to continue to go back and work harder because there's so many things that I have an opportunity to improve, right?
Right.
And then you can compound that with what kind of legacy do you want to leave for your children.
Right. So, yeah. And I remember Zig Ziglar saying he's never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? So, it's your legacy is not the material things. It's what you leave behind, what you create. And that's so important. And as I've get older, there are things. What's important to me changes a lot. First of all, when you're young and don't have kids, and you're invincible, you don't even think about the end because you're so close to the beginning. But as you get older and you start to move closer to the end, then your perspective on things starts to shift.
Period.
And you really feel like what are people going to think of me when I'm gone? What's the dash between the 2 dates on my tombstone?
Right.
What's it going to say about me, right? And so it becomes meaningful. So, I mean, I'm in a season of contribution. That's why, everybody who knows me knows I started the real estate team, joined EXP. I did it because I wanted to light more candles on the way out of here, right? I wanted to impact more people's lives, which, thank God, I've been able to do and will continue to do.
Mine included.
Well, thank you, and yours likewise here. But, that is, I think sometimes we look at money as the outcome. Money is the scorekeeper. Money is the measure of how we impact other people's lives, how well we impact them, right? And so in real estate, if you focus on raving fans as clients who really love you and you do a great job for, the money will come. It's not like you got to go dig up a chest of gold coins somewhere, right? That's not what real estate is. We're in the service business, folks. And I hate to put it this way, but we honestly don't sell houses. We do not sell houses. Now, take that away from this show if you take one thing. We sell our services. That's what we sell. Houses are the bacon and eggs, but when you have a restaurant, you sell the experience, you sell the whole thing. The house part of what we do is just the mechanical part of our business. But we are in the service business. We sell our skills and our talent to be able to help somebody transition in life. And guys, that's why a lot of times we're accused of practicing psychology without a degree, because we have to help people transition through very difficult times. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not prepared mentally yourself, you're going to have a really hard time helping other people who are in deeper trouble than you are get through the tough times.
How much time do we have left, roughly?
Not much.
No?
Yeah.
I just, from our conversation earlier, just want to talk a little bit about what we talked about as far as doing the work.
Yes, please.
Do I have time to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you have to do the work. You want to sell more houses? You got to get better at scripts and dialogues, right? You got to get better at leading people to their own conclusion. You've got to get better at handling objections. You've got to get better at the entire process from beginning to end. And you've got to practice. The same thing is, if you want to become the person you were meant to become the real estate agent you were meant to be, then you also have to do the work on yourself. And what that means is that if you are not getting the results you want, you've got to take a look inward. These are not external factors. There's nothing externally that's keeping anybody from achieving their goals in real estate, because the fact being that there are people that broke records selling houses this year, in a horrible market, so to speak, right? So there's nothing external. I'm talking about looking at your life, going back into who you are as a person, looking at the things that have happened in your life and figuring out where either somebody said something to you or you said something to yourself where you created a belief about yourself where you weren't worthy, you don't feel you're worthy of something, you don't think you're deserving of something, you don't think you're good enough for something, okay? Because when you are like that, when your operating system inside of you is like that, that's when you don't do the things you need to do to be successful. You don't step out of your comfort zone. You don't face fear and then walk through the fear. You let the fear, cripple you, So I'm telling you, you don't need to get a therapist for this. You don't need a psychiatrist for this. You just got to sit down, look at your life, look at the experience that happened. We all have external identities, right? I'm a lifter, I'm a strong person, I'm a hard worker, I'm a runner, I'm a smoker, I'm a drinker, right? We also have these hidden identities. Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, they call them hidden identities. And these are the identities where, we tell ourselves we're not worthy, we don't believe things, we're not good enough. And until you make peace with that, and until you start, and here's the thing, it's not just a matter of identifying and making peace with it. You literally have to go ahead and start doing the opposite work, meaning you've got to do self-compassion, self-love, self-care, not isolating yourself from other people when things aren't going well. You've got to do your affirmations. You've got to read and fill your mind with good stuff. Sounds totally corny, but it's the truth. And the only way you can overcome that and get to the point where you're taking it to the next level is if you do the work on yourself. And if you don't, there's nothing anybody can do to help you.
Yeah.
Period.
When C3 and I came back from the mastermind with Jordan Belfort,
oh my God, that must have been amazing.
There was one thing that just I can't get it out of my mind. And what Jordan says was, you've got to quit telling yourself the same bullshit story you're telling yourself. Okay? Because garbage in,
garbage out.
Garbage out.
Yep.
That's it.
Cool. Heavy stuff.
It is heavy, but this is a heavy show. And, this is what we do. We're here to help people change their lives. And sometimes you need to hear this more than once. And so we're here to deliver the message.
Right.
And,
some people don't stop smoking until they have cancer.
That's right.
Some people don't stop taking care of themselves and overeating until they have a heart attack.
Some people don't do the right things until they blow their families up.
Yep, exactly. And so it's don't wait for your wife to divorce you because you didn't pay attention to her and the kids. Don't sit around and look at the bank account and keep telling people you got to go to a part-time job. Don't do that. Don't get to the point where your life is completely obliterated because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And you don't want to work on yourself. Like, put the brakes on and make a decision today that you're not going to wait until you have a catastrophe happen to go ahead and make the change in your life.
That's right. Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Quit making it about you.
True.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So if you touch somebody's heart today, Wally, and they wanted to contact you just to maybe spend a few minutes on the phone with you or shoot you a text or something.
Can I give my number?
You can give them your number, email. It's the best way to get a hold of you.
Historically, I'm on the phone like Cliff. I'm on the phone most days, and I'm not able to take a whole lot of phone calls, but if you text me, I'll call you back. My cell phone number is 214-334-1356, 214-334-1356, and you can reach me at Wally at thecliffreemangroup.com. I'm the only one that got the right?
Actually, you're the one that you didn't get the but I'll go hook it up here.
Sorry. Wally at Cliff Freeman Group. I knew I was one of them. Wally at cliffreemangroup.com. Wally at CLIFF freemangroup.com. I thought I got the I didn't get the
No. We're going to put the in, so we'll make it work. Yeah, it was
one of those.
Technical error.
Yeah, so 214-334-1356 or Wally at cliffreemangroup.com. And I feel like we're on QVC here.
Right.
We've got 8 of them left.
Yes, now, but wait. But if you liked what you heard today, show us the love out there. Hit the heart button. Give us a thumbs up. Let us hear from you. We love you guys. We're here for one reason, and that's to serve you who are watching us today.
Yep.
And let us help you. Please contact us if there's anything that we can do to help you. Maybe you need a checkup from the neck up.
Yep, Zig Ziglar, right? Before you get hardening of the attitude.
Hardening of the attitude. Amen. Boy, and Zig gave me a little rock at church one day that had the word gratitude written on it. And he said, I want you to put this in your pocket, and this at any time, because he knew what I was going through. He said, anytime you have fear entering your heart, I want you to take this rock out, read that word, and think of what you're grateful for, and that fear will magically disappear. So for that,
Very
I'm
cool.
thankful. Yeah,
Agreed.
thank you, Zig. Hope you're resting well.
Yes.
All right, Trelvis, man, my week is complete again. I got to see my best friend back there running the stick on the plane today, and we sure enjoy coming to see you every week, and are very thankful for you, my friend, and thankful for all the folks out in the audience today. We have got some unbelievable people lined up in the future. If you want to go check, I'll put some names out here shortly, but stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching the show, and we're going to catch up with you, I guess, next week. Good golf, good tennis, whatever makes you happy. And check out these crazy people Trelvis is about to show you here. Who is these?
All right, folks,
These are.
tune
Look at
in
this.
to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee it.